Well, there's still lots of buzz today about Liberal leader Justin Trudeau's decision to turf Liberal senators from the party caucus and have them sit as independents in the upper chamber. Of course, it hasn't quite turned out that way, since most of those senators have decided they will call themselves the Liberal Senate Caucus. And the Speaker of the Senate has ruled they can be recognized as Liberals, not necessarily independents, and they can form the opposition in the Senate. Is that really what the Liberal leader was after? I spoke with the leader of the new Liberal Senate Caucus, which looks pretty much like the previous Senate Liberal Caucus, about what has changed. Senator Cowan, first of all, good to see you. Thanks for coming in to speak with me. Let's start there. So what's the proper way to refer to you now? Senator, Liberal Senator, Independent Senator? How do you want to be referred to?
I'm a Liberal Senator. I'm the leader of the opposition. I'm the leader of the Senate Liberal Caucus.
So the 32 senators who were until yesterday morning members of the Liberal Caucus, are they all, trying to keep count here, are they all now Senate Liberals or Liberals in the Senate, or are they some of them independent? Where do we stand?
Well, all of the ones who are here, and I think it's up to 26 or 20, there are 3 or 4 who aren't here.
Right, aren't in town.
Aren't in town, and I just simply haven't had time to speak to them. All of the ones who are here are going to, stick with us and join our group and be known as Liberal Senators, and collectively we be the Senate Liberal Caucus. As I say, there are 3 or 4 that I simply haven't a chance to call because they're away, and I will get them over the next couple of days. But I've not heard any indication that anybody's going to remove themselves and style themselves as an independent.
Okay, so what does this mean in terms of your affiliation with the elected Liberal Caucus or the Liberal Party?
Well, we're still members of the Liberal Party of Canada in good standing, and we intend, and I can speak only for myself, but I think everybody else, well, we're going to stay active in the party and do what we can to help the party provincially, in my case, and federally as well, in my case. We are not members of the National Caucus in the Parliament. Mr. Trudeau said that the National Caucus is going to be composed only of elected members. So we're not part of that, but we're parliamentarians, we're Liberal parliamentarians, and we'll maintain our friendships and relationships unofficially with our colleagues in the House of Commons.
And working relationships?
Sure. It'll be on a one-on-one basis. It's not going to be on a collective basis, but,
Well, why not?
Well, because we're not...
But how does anybody know that that's not in de facto what will actually happen?
Well,
You'll
we don't
continue
know.
to function as a Senate arm of the Liberal Party.
But we're not members of the caucus. So we'll not meet in caucus to take caucus positions. We'll not receive any direction from the leader or from the House of Commons caucus as to what we should or shouldn't do with respect to any piece of legislation. That'll be up to us to decide on our own exactly how we're going to do that.
Justin Trudeau made it clear in that news conference that he was cutting ties with Liberal senators. In effect, he said there are no more Liberal senators.
Yeah.
But you're saying you're still a Liberal senator.
Absolutely.
So does that in effect defy what Justin Trudeau had?
No,
how not?
No, I don't think so. I think what he's saying is that there are no Liberal senators in the National Liberal Caucus, that the Liberal Caucus is composed entirely of elected members, and that the...
Well, no, but that's not what he said. He said there are no more Liberal senators, they're independents.
They're independents.
Well, you're not, though. You're saying you're a Liberal senator.
But in the Senate, under the Senate rules, we have the right to designate how we wish to be identified. And we have all decided that we want to be identified as Liberals rather than something else.
Have you talked to him about that?
Absolutely. I've told him exactly what we decided yesterday.
Okay, and how did he respond to that?
There was no objection.
Because you've probably seen the same reports today that some of the people around Mr. Trudeau, that's not what he had in mind. Well, he didn't want there to continue to be this obvious connection between senators and Liberals because you called yourself Liberals.
We're entitled to call ourselves Liberals, and that's what we've done.
Did he suggest you not do that?
No, he did not make that suggestion. He came, made a presentation, sort of outlined his decision to the Liberal senators yesterday morning. And none of us had been involved in the decision-making and the discussions. We all heard the news at the same time. And then we met as a group after he left and said, well, all right, what are we going to do now? And we said, we want to stick together because we want to work together. What are we going to call ourselves? We're going to call ourselves Liberal Senators. Well, what is our collective going to be called? And we said the logical thing is Senate Liberal Caucus. That's what it is. And we met today, and we affirmed that. And I told Mr. Trudeau our decisions yesterday afternoon.
And he said he was fine with that? Or did he say to you, wait a minute,
No.
Jim, that's not really what I intended?
No, he raised no objection.
No objection at all?
No.
If he had met with you, as you pointed out, you weren't consulted about this. If you had been consulted, would you have told him then at the very least, look, if you cut us loose from caucus here, my intention is to remain a Liberal in the Senate?
Well,
would you have liked to have been consulted about this?
Yes, of course. I mean, it affected us. I think any of us.
Why? What does it say that you weren't?
I don't. I mean, I think what he was saying is, look, I've made a decision here. This is a decision. I have to show leadership here. I have to make this decision. I want to be able to say that I made this decision. I consulted the people that I wanted to consult with, and I announced the decision. That's, I'm sure, what he was doing. But I was not party to the discussions. I don't know who talked to him and what considerations went into the decision. I know what the decision was. I think it was very clear. And so he made the decision. We then we're independents, and we say, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to organize ourselves? How are we going to carry forward?
When you say you would have liked to have been consulted, why would that have been important?
Well, I think any of us would like to be consulted about a decision which affects us. I think that's in any line of work. If you have somebody making a decision about you would like to have input. I can understand why he didn't do it, and why it would have been difficult to consult with a few senators and not all of them, and perhaps he was concerned about how he could whether.
But you were the Liberal leader in the Senate, the leader of the opposition in the Senate. It would, I guess you must have been wondering when you got the news, gee, I'm your guy in the upper chamber. It would have been nice to have been told what you had in mind for me and the others.
Well, you know, as we were chatting before we came on, I was in Calgary at a conference, and I had a call from the office suggesting that I should be back for caucus the next morning. So I did that, but I didn't know what it was that we were going to discuss, or what the...
Okay, so do you agree with the move he's made here?
Well, I think it gives us an opportunity. I think that one of the criticisms of the Senate is that it's unnecessary because the senators are simply doing the bidding of the leaders of their parties or the colleagues in the House of Commons. Now, as I've said, that has not been my experience. I have not had the experience as leader under Stéphane Dion or Michael Ignatieff or Bob Rae or Justin Trudeau of saying, look, I direct you to vote here, there, or anywhere else. Unlike the Conservatives, we saw the spectacle last fall where Mr. Harper was preaching from the podium at his national convention saying, this is what I want my Conservative senators to do. And they said, yes, sir, aye, sir, 3 bags full, sir, and they did it. Now, I've never had that experience, but the perception clearly is that senators of all stripes are directed by their parties. Now, but Mr. Trudeau has said, no more. That perception is gone.
How does that perception disappear if you're still Liberals in name in the Senate? Your colleagues still support the policies of the Liberal Party. You still support the policies of your leader. What's changed?
Well, we are now free of the perception and in the future the reality of any kind of direct. We're not going to receive any. But how
you're all on the record saying that you still support everything Justin Trudeau's for?
No, I haven't said that at all.
Okay.
I've said.
So we might see Liberals in the Senate now. Well, your party's not in power, but speaking out openly against policies put forward by Mr. Trudeau.
There is no obligation on any. We will have votes will be free in our caucus. Everybody will have an opportunity to express their opinion. There will be nobody telling people how they need to vote, and we need not be concerned about whether an idea that we present or a vote we take in some way reflects on Mr. Trudeau or the Liberal Party, because we're not members of his caucus.
Okay, so now you're not members. Are you planning to go to the convention?
I plan to go to the convention.
Okay.
Yes,
and what about some resolutions? I know some senators had put forward resolutions as members of caucus.
Absolutely.
Do they get dumped now, or do they still get? How do those get framed at a?
As far as I know, if they made the cut and got on the list, they'll be debated, and I intend to be there. But some of my colleagues won't be going. And certainly we won't be going. As you know, there was to be a national caucus in Quebec City a few days before that. You won't be there. No.
Let's finish on this. Some have suggested this is really about Mr. Trudeau trying to cut ties as much as possible with Liberal senators as we wait for results of an investigation by the Auditor General into all Senate expenses. Is that what this is about?
I have no reason to believe that. I don't know anything. You know, we have an ongoing audit by the Auditor General. I know of no difficulties. We've had 3 or 4 senators who've gotten into difficulty and have been publicly identified. One has resigned and the other 3 have been suspended. Those are the Conservative senators, I hasten to add. But so I don't know that there's any connection. I think it's pure speculation.
All right, interesting days.
It is interesting.
In the Senate. Well, it's been interesting months for you in the Senate, but this is yet another development. Senator James Cowan, appreciate your time.
Delighted to be here. Thank you.